Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hello everyone, hope you're having a good weekend. So going to be looking at the usual names, WEED, we'll look at APH, ACB, MJN, and MJ, the new ticker for MJX, the previous ETF, just change that name. And there is some potential concern with that ETF no longer being their custodian, which is the big name that oversees the ETF is, potentially there were some rumors of it maybe wanting to no longer participate in this sector. If that were the case, someone else would step up. So it's definitely some negative news if that were to happen, which I don't think it will. But if it did, it's not the end of the ETF. The ETF would find a new home, essentially. So just wanted to get that out of the way. And we're going to talk correlations as always. I'll put out a market video as I've been doing. I'll do that at some point this weekend, but it's the correlation that is so important. Look at this absolute V-shaped recovery turnaround. And in terms of trading the market today, I was trading the S&P 500, and it was the most complete 180 turnaround from all bearish. Bears have complete control, hit the bottom, and then just bulls ran with it. And there was a short squeeze going on in the market. So the moves that we saw in Canadian MJ were more magnified to the upside in the short term, meaning the RSI levels and other indicators got really overbought, and they stayed overbought because there was a short squeeze going on in the market, and that correlation favored the bulls. So what I'm noticing in the correlation overall with the S&P 500 and the general markets and the Canadian MJ market is that the correlation favors the Canadian MJ market bulls, and that's because the pullback was less significant and the bounce is more magnified. So let's look at the 5-minute time frame here on WEED. These are the candlesticks, and the background here is SPY, the S&P 500, and look at the low of the day hitting at the exact same point and the V-shaped recovery that followed. And then you can see the bulls here for the Canadian MJ sector really ran with it very significantly. And this 5-minute time frame is just a beast mode move where you can see the volume is just huge for the bulls and a big time follow through. So what this tells me is, yes, the markets are weak. When the markets are weak overall, it's going to impact the Canadian MJ sector, but the Canadian MJ sector is going to be, or is being, one of the most aggressively bought sectors on any bounce attempt. So that's a great sign for these bulls, because if the market recovers, which the end of the day action on Friday alluded to, which I'll point out in that video, but there was a short squeeze going on and we did close strong. So if we get follow through Monday, we're looking for Canadian MJ to have some follow through as well. So let's start it off with MJ. This is the daily time frame. Beautiful higher low. So as I said on this bounce, we're not going to change the trend. We're going to set a lower high on this bounce, and we're going to have to form a higher low and a higher high for the bulls to shift some momentum back in their favor. Otherwise, it's just an oversold bounce, and we can't give too much credit to the bulls. So we now have our higher low, and this is very significant because it's a beautiful bullish reversal candlestick closing up near the high of the day. And that level is at 30.36. We have a higher low of support. We have to follow through with this on Monday. And the bulls are looking for a higher open because we did close very strong. But we're looking for continuation for the bulls on Monday. And of course, the key resistance is the high of the bounce attempt at this point. And that's up here for MJ at 33.93. So from where we closed to that level, it's about a 6% move or so. So it's not going to be easy for the bulls to just get right through that level, but that is the goal this coming week. Hold this level of 30.36 and break 33.93. That's the goal for the bulls. So checking in on WEED, and most of us in the chat room were buying at the end of the day and did swing positions because, as we know, when we close up near the high and we have some bullish momentum, we look for the market makers to continue that into the next trading session, which is going to be on Monday. So we're going to look for some follow through to start the day, at least to start the day. Ideally, we'll see a market day in the green, and we'll see the bulls see another solid green day to confirm these reversal candlesticks. Because if we have, a strong start but then close weak, it's not going to be convincing for these bulls. So here's the same setup on WEED where we have our low and our higher low and our resistance. So our higher low is now 25.23. That's a very important level going forward for the next few weeks. And resistance is going to be 31.35. So from where we closed at 28.17, we need about 10% in order to make our way up to the previous resistance and a little bit more than 10%. So keep that in mind that, again, it's not going to be easy, but that's the level that the bulls are watching. And if we could see a 5% day, I'd say a 5% day on Monday would be a great follow-through day for the Canadian MJ sector. So it's very simple with where we stand. And again, that complete turnaround on the 5-minute time frame, the RSI got very overextended. There was a lack of consolidation, and you might be looking at this and saying, what in the world is going on? News must have been released. But if you've been watching these videos and if you've been noticing the correlation yourself, the correlation to the market is the reason this happened. It was a very strong short squeeze, and look at the volume. It's just all a solid wall of bull volume. So the 4-hour time frame also gives a nice view here, a little bit more detail, very similar to the daily, but we have this higher low. This is just the first 4-hour green candlestick. We have to confirm this candlestick as well, and just looking for that higher low and higher high to change the 4-hour trend. APH, all this analysis is going to be very similar because, again, when volatility picks up, correlations pick up, and the entire sector is definitely correlated significantly to each other. So support here is 1487. Resistance is up at 1795. Bulls looking for follow through. Didn't really close at the high of the day. We did start to consolidate. Some people took some profit at the end of the day on Friday, and that was the case for most names. WEED, little bit of profit taking, not significant. Have to be aware of this 5-minute RSI because we don't have extended hours action. It's not going to cool off much. And starting the day on Monday, we are going to have short-term RSI levels pretty high. So we'll see if we get some sideways consolidation. But that being said, the scenario of this happening and, looking into the next session does make the short-term RSIs less reliable, in my opinion, because of the momentum that we do have and because of, the way we see these market makers consistently open the prices higher when we close at the high of the day, that is. So APH, those are the levels we're watching, and look at the 4-hour time frame. Or even the hourly chart. You can see the hourly chart went from lower highs and lower lows after the top of the bounce, and we have broken the lower highs now, so now we look for higher lows and higher highs on the hourly. So I really like the viewpoint on all these charts from the hourly, the 4-hour, and the daily, just to get more details on all of them. ACB held up the best because of earnings, and so these names did break bearish from their inside bars on the daily time frame. Don't want to disregard that. So APH and ACB, we broke bearish and we dropped down to lower lows, pretty decent amount to lower lows, a few percent. And again, it's the overall market that negated that signal. I mean, the signal definitely followed through and there was bearish action, but as soon as that turnaround happened in the market, that was the signal for the bulls to show up. So again, that's another point that just the market, where we stand right now and the correlation we're seeing, the market is the #1 guide to be watching. And for those of you that are familiar with the cryptocurrency videos that we do, it's what we do every single day, with Bitcoin being the market leader and everything else correlated to some degree to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is the backbone of all of our analysis. And the way we stand right now, the overall stock market and SPY needs to be the backbone of our analysis. And then we take the little details and add it into the complete picture. So ACB support is at 1050. And resistance is up at 1255, so 20% for ACB to break to a higher high on the daily. We certainly know the bulls can do that when the volume is in their favor, but it's could take a couple of days to see that kind of action. MJN, not really a similar move, and again, it's because we were more bullish, the most bullish on Thursday, so it's almost like the bulls took a breather and let the other names catch up a bit today, or I should say on Friday. So support is 880 and 872. And 866. There's 3 supports, all right in that range. And resistance is 966 and 962. It is another inside bar on the daily. So second daily inside bar in a row that will break on Monday. And we close right in the middle of that range. I would say because of the overall market momentum, the odds slightly favor a bull break in this scenario. But going to be protective. Again, I swung ACB and WEED over the end of the day action. And that was looking for the follow-through on Monday. So I appreciate you watching. We'll see if we can get a nice, solid green day. A green start is great. It gives us opportunity, but we want to see a strong close for a solid green follow-through day to be looking at confirming the daily reversal candlesticks that just formed. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next week.